So, okay, my first question is regarding that we are on a conference which is about the other. I would ask you to define what the other is.
Oh, this is going to turn into a bigger thing than I think that I'm capable of right now. We'll see. Well, I think when we live as it's so individualized as human beings, we become so individualized to a certain degree. When we're in that state, everything else is the other. Everything but our own individualized self is the other, in our experience when we're living, from that level.
And where's the relevance in engaging the other?
Well, I feel like when we engage the other, we set up a kind of a circulation, so we actually expand our own self to become part of something bigger than that contained, individualized self. So engaging the other expands who we are, because as soon as we're engaged with them, our field becomes bigger. Yeah.
Did you get a personal encounter where you understood that?
I think that's just a kind of a life lesson. Yeah, I can't think of any one specific thing, but yeah.
And so let me ask different. Was there any or can you remember just one of the many situations where you felt that is true?
That we expand ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say in my work I can experience that in a very specific way, because one of the ways I do my drawing is to sit with a person and we gaze at one another, and then I feel like in a way then my intention is to do drawings that express that other person. But when I'm doing the drawings, once I set that intention, what it feels like is I'm just drawing myself. That's totally the experience. I'm just drawing what I feel right now as myself, but I know I've expanded myself to become somehow in a larger field with this other person, and in some way I'm experiencing them as me, and then I draw that, and so that's a very specific experience I've had. I've done that quite a bit.
And that connected to love?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I recently had an experience in my community, a very difficult experience with a young woman we know and someone from a very different culture, and witnessed the family dealing with this very difficult situation. And I kept saying while they were doing that, I was saying, this is engaging the other, you're engaging the other. They could very easily have demonized this person for the experience that had happened, that's going to have difficult repercussions, but they were really searching in themselves to both stand strong for the truth of the difficulty of what had happened and what this person had done, and be able to strongly state that, and at the same time feel engaged with them, not separate from them, engage with them and communicate how they felt and how what this person had done had impacted them. And I realized there very clearly, just in my personal life with friends in my community very recently, that they were engaging the other. They felt separate, and yet they found a place in their hearts where they could connect with that person. Yeah.
Did anything at that conference enrich you?
My relationship to the conference is a little different. I'm drawing the whole time, so I'm sort of in an altered state. I'm exhausted. Because, some people when they're presenting, they do their presentation and they sit back and relax. But during every presentation, I'm sitting somewhere on the floor with my drawing board and listening in a very focused way, and creating interpretations of what I hear, of the content of what people are talking about and what I feel. And so it's hard for me to even objectify that I experienced the conference. I'm so inside of it that in a way I don't even know what I experienced. But when I see the drawings, they are a record of what I experienced. And I'll be working with them. So in some way, I think I'll be integrating them over a long time. Yeah.
So my last question will be regarding the fact that for me it's also a conference about peace or peace work. If you got like a toolbox for building up peace and relationships in your small little own world, like some 1, 2, 3 step framework to build peace.
There are some people at this conference who have really developed their thinking on that. Some amazing people like Louise Diamond. So I feel like an amateur about that, but I'll see if something comes to me. I know that there's a lot of talk about finding peace within ourselves, and I know that in some core level, if everyone on the planet could get to that place, we would not have war. My life is devoted to helping people in my very particular way to get in touch with themselves and work out their own inner conflicts and open up to the beauty of who they are. And as that unbinds some of the wounding, because I think most war comes from intergenerational wounding. It's just one follows the other, every generation passes it on. If people can untie and release the wounds that come from the previous generations and from their life, then they'll be in a state that they're not carrying that damage forward. So I know that I personally don't have the ultimate tool, but what I offer is a creative process that allows people to get in touch with any feelings that they have and honor their feelings, and then release them so they become more clear, loving human beings. That's my little piece that I offer to the process.
Thank you.
Yeah.